For thousands of years, people didn't just watch clouds, they believed clouds were watching back, speaking in a language only the patient could understand. The word itself carries the weight of ancient curiosity. Nephelomancy, from the Greek nephos, meaning cloud, and manteia, meaning divination. It's a practice so old that its true origins have dissolved into the mists of time, much like the very subjects it sought to interpret. Long before meteorology gave us pressure systems and humidity indices, human beings stood beneath open skies and asked the clouds to tell them what would come. The earliest written records suggest that Babylonian priests, around 2,500 years before our time, kept careful watch of the heavens. They stood on their great ziggurats at dawn and dusk, their eyes trained upward, reading the formations that drifted across the Mesopotamian sky. To them, a cloud shaped like a serpent meant one thing, a formation resembling a bird meant something entirely different. The sky was a text, and they had learned its alphabet. In ancient China, during the dynasties whose names now feel like poetry, the Zhou, the Han, cloud watchers occupied positions of genuine influence at court. These weren't mere dreamers or mystics relegated to the margins. They were consulted before harvests, before battles, before the emperor himself made decisions that would shape the lives of millions. And yet, not a single one of them knew what we now know about convection currents, about the water cycle, about what truly made clouds form and move. By the time we reached the European Middle Ages, Nephelomancy had woven itself into the fabric of folk wisdom. Farmers consulted cloud readers before planting. Sailors studied formations before setting out to sea. In the margins of old manuscripts, in those precious surviving texts, monks recorded their observations with the same reverence they gave to scripture. A cloud shaped like a crown predicted the rise of kings. A dark, roiling mass foretold plague or famine. And here is where the story grows tender and a little melancholy. These people, the Babylonian priests, the Chinese court diviners, the medieval farmers, they were doing something that feels almost unbearably human. They were seeking meaning in uncertainty. They were looking upward, toward something vast and unknowable, hoping to find answers. The clouds never actually told them anything, of course, but the act of watching, of waiting, of believing that the universe might speak to them, that act itself became a kind of comfort. The Renaissance brought something new to Nephelomancy, skepticism mixed with fascination. Scholars began to ask harder questions. If clouds could predict the future, why were their predictions so often vague? Why did different readers interpret the same formation differently? The old certainties began to crack, slowly, like ice in spring. And yet the practice persisted, because human beings have never been quick to abandon the things that comfort them. Then came the 17th century, and with it, a quiet revolution. Scientists like Luke Howard began to classify clouds with the precision of botanists cataloging flowers. Cumulus, stratus, cirrus names that suddenly made the sky feel more knowable, more rational. The shift wasn't dramatic. Nephelomancy didn't vanish overnight, but something fundamental had begun to change in how people looked at the sky. By the 19th century, the practice had become almost quaint. Photography arrived, and with it, the ability to freeze a cloud in time, to study it without the vagaries of human memory. The modern world was building itself on data and measurement. There seemed to be no room anymore for something as delicate, as uncertain, as cloud gazing, and most people were content to let it slip away. But here's the thing that history teaches us, if we listen closely enough: nothing ever truly disappears, it only transforms. In the 20th century, as the world grew faster and louder and more certain of itself, something unexpected happened. People began to miss the quiet act of looking upward without agenda. Cloud gazing returned, not as divination, but as meditation. Not as a tool for prediction, but as a way to slow down. Today, cloud gazing exists in a strange and beautiful space. We understand the science, we know about atmospheric pressure, water vapor, the precise conditions that create each formation. And yet, the ancient impulse remains alive in us. We still look up. We still find meaning in those drifting shapes. We still, perhaps without quite admitting it, ask the clouds to tell us something about ourselves. The real story of Nephelomancy, then, isn't about whether clouds can predict the future. It's about why human beings have always needed to believe that the world around them contains meaning. It's about the comfort of looking upward, of waiting, of allowing ourselves to be small beneath something vast. The clouds haven't changed. What changed is us, and perhaps, in some ways, not as much as we think. So the next time you find yourself lying on your back in the grass, watching the clouds drift slowly by, Remember that you're participating in something ancient and unbroken. You're doing what the Babylonians did, what the Chinese court did, what countless unnamed people have done across the centuries. You're asking the sky to speak to you. And in the silence that follows, in the gentle drift of that white and endless expanse, perhaps it does. Subscribe for more gentle journeys through forgotten histories and natural wonders, each one crafted to ease you toward sleep.